So, shoulder rests. I think shoulder rests are, if anything, a little bit controversial because you will most likely find many people that will tell you that you will absolutely need a shoulder rest to play the violin. And that's most definitely not true. In fact, we've had thousands of people play violin without a shoulder rest throughout their entire career, even many famous violinists. And in fact, shoulder rests are a relatively new invention, all things considered, only over the past 100 or slightly over 100 years ago. And before that, for hundreds of years, 500 years, we've always played without a shoulder rest. Think about them like eyeglasses, for example. Eyeglasses do definitely make my life easier, but they're by no means an absolute necessity. And we've lived for millions and millions of years without the use of eyeglasses. But for all intents and purposes today, you will most likely use a shoulder rest. I've been using a shoulder rest for most of my career, if only because it makes it easier to interact with the violin. It frees up my left hand in ways that are actually very productive. And if you're going to use a shoulder rest, I would like to show you how you can set it up and use it properly. And it's actually fairly easy to understand. The main thing is that you need to know which side goes up and which side goes down. Depending on the type of shoulder rest you might have, you'll find that one end of the shoulder rest is slightly thicker than the other. And we're going to always remember, or I'd like you to always remember, that the thick side of your shoulder rest will always be on the same side of your chin rest. So if you hold your violin like this, your chin rest is on the higher side, on the up side of your violin, or like this, let's say on the right of your violin. So the thick side of your shoulder rest is also going to be on the right side of your violin. So if I turn everything around, now if you can imagine that the chin rest is now on this side, that means the thick side of the shoulder rest will be on the same side. And all you have to do is take the feet, the little hook feet that the shoulder rest has, and attach them to the side of the violin like so, and then take the other side and do the same. Now I'd like to give it a little bit of a push afterwards until the feet are more or less facing each other, just to make sure that it's properly attached. And then you can move your violin around and it's just not going to fall, it's going to stay firmly in place, and then you can just go ahead and set your violin on top of your shoulder. What that does when you use a shoulder rest is that it creates a much I would define it as a sticky surface, a surface that can actually attach a lot more easily to the material of your shirt or your suit or whatever you're wearing, and it makes it a lot easier to keep a good stable position when you hold your violin, even if you're not using any hands. Whereas on the other hand, if you're not using a shoulder rest, you'll find that the violin slips a lot more easily. So to do that properly, you actually need to involve your left hand in other ways that, make things just slightly more complicated. Remember, these things are created just like eyeglasses and many of our accessories in the modern world to make our lives easier. So you might as well take advantage of them. So your shoulder rest actually allows you to free your left hand so that you can later move up and down your violin much more easily, with much more freedom and with much more comfort. And then to take it off, all you need to do is just slide it downward. Don't just pull it off, because you could damage the shoulder rest or even worse, the violin. So slide it downwards towards the end of the violin, and it should, with a bit of force, it should come off fairly easily. So once you've successfully attached and detached your shoulder rest, I would strongly recommend doing it again. Practice that a little bit, put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off, set it down on the table, give it a little spin, walk around your house, come back and put it on in the right way once again, because you'll notice that if you're not sure about, whether it goes like this or like that, and you end up putting it upside down, things will end up becoming a lot more uncomfortable for you when it comes to playing a violin, of course. And of course, we don't want that. One of the things we always try to remember is to do things in the most natural and comfortable way for your body, so that then you can use it correctly to produce a natural sound. So go ahead and give that a try and let me know in the comments how it goes.